we know that stereotypes are not so great. Okay, yes, I indulge a bit in stereotypes of the 16 personalities for comedic purposes. Like, come on, it's funny when an ESTJ yells at someone or an ISFJ bakes someone cookies. But in these longer videos, I try to dispel misconceptions that you might have about other types. But what about misconceptions that you have about your own type? What exaggerated, misguided, or even dead wrong things do we tend to think about ourselves? A lot of ESTPs might tell themselves, I have commitment issues, or I'm totally disorganized. ESTPs may not realize it, but they have the potential to outperform many other types. But only if they can discipline themselves to stay focused on one goal. Actions speak louder than words, and ESTPs have enough action to do anything they want. But they need a direction to point it in. A direction that if they take the time to stop and think about it, they can discover it for themselves. One thing ESFPs can underestimate in themselves is their intellectual ability. They may not be as logical or strategic as some of the thinking types, but ESFPs have one unique trait that many other types struggle to find, which is passion. A passionate ESFP can succeed even in a field that is not one of their stereotypical strengths. If their heart leads them into a field like computer science or management, ESFPs can kill it. Now, it may take a little more effort for ESFPs than for some other types, but so what? That's the secret to ESFPs' success. They're willing to put in a lot of effort, even if it's an uphill battle. If they're passionate about it, that's all that matters. ISTJs can get down on themselves in the face of change. They can develop thoughts like, I can't handle this, or this is too much to manage. I'm having a meltdown. No, this is because they are masters of managing tasks and routines that stay consistent. Consistency is their jam. A jam like consistency, which is very sticky. Frank, what? The truth is, though, that ISTJs excel at managing changing situations. They are one of the few types that can bring order to the chaos of change. The roadblock is that they fear that initial change more than other types do. If an ISTJ can get over this initial fear, they can succeed in ways that wouldn't have been open to them before. And this will lead them to be more willing to find even bigger opportunities. But it only happens if the ISTJs stop rejecting any opportunities that seem to be a deviation from the set path. A misconception ISFJs can have about themselves is that they are soft, like soft serve ice cream. They just can't stand up for themselves. Now, this is because many ISFJs are conflict avoidant. The thing is that ISFJs need to understand the difference between necessary and unnecessary conflict. Sometimes someone needs to point out the problem. Someone needs to call out the tomfoolery.
Frank, I've watched you for so many years and I'm unsubscribing because you use such a strong word.
ISFJs who build up their confidence can be great at knowing when it's time to get in someone's face. These ISFJs understand that letting problems slide is what can rock the boat the worst. Sometimes you need a big old hammer to hit a difficult nail into some wood. The thing is, a lot of times ESTJs assume that the hammer is the only tool for every situation. Of course, I'm not talking about a real hammer, okay? I'm talking about the ESTJ's tendency to not sugarcoat anything. Like, why phrase something in a way to avoid hurting someone else's feelings? Their feelings are irrelevant. That's not what we're talking about. And a lot of times ESTJs will even say, that's just who I am. Deal with it. And they won't try to work on their communication skills. Everyone else just needs to get a thicker skin. In reality, ESTJs can be motivational and uplifting leaders if they put in the time and effort. These ESTJs realize that taking some time to focus on others' emotions can be beneficial in the long run. They understand that sometimes to get what they want to get done, it helps for people to be happy, or at least not unnecessarily offended. Now, ENTJs can get so swept up in their work that they forget that they have personal lives. Family, friendships, hobbies, they can all fall by the wayside. The misconception that ENTJs have about themselves is that that's okay. In fact, it's preferable because they believe themselves to be bad at relationships. They may also believe that their hobbies are a selfish waste of time. But ENTJs excel at planning, and they can leverage this skill to bring people together. They are inspiring in their ability to strengthen strengthen the bonds in their and other people's relationships. All it takes for them is to learn that their skills are transferable from work to other areas of life. A misconception ESFJs have about themselves is that they are wrong. Wrong about what, Frank? You name it. Especially if they can't get others to agree with their opinion. Why is that in the shot? This is a big problem. You'll get ESFJs who are far down a path in life that they hate. They're only doing it because they assume that they are wrong to want to do something else. ESFJs should understand that they need to have a personal why behind their life. Even more important is to accept that why as 100% correct. Why am I going down this path in life? Here are my reasons, not someone else's reasons, and that's right. It's not correct because someone else gave you a thumbs up, but because you decided that it was right for you. An ESFJ who has worked out their personal reasons for their path in life is unstoppable. Other people can disagree and tell them they're wrong, but they can't knock the ESFJ off course. ENFJs can develop the mindset of, I am not logical, or in worst case scenarios, I am stupid. This could be at school or work, anywhere where they might have to learn new skills. But this isn't the case. What ENFJs need, a lot of times, is just a different approach to learning. Instead of sitting down with a big pile of books all by themselves, ESFJs can learn in a group. Having discussions with friends or mentors can help ENFJs absorb the information. What ENFJs have to get over is their lack of confidence in their intellectual abilities. You can learn anything if you want to. Now, depending on what it is, you may need to put in some extra effort or use a different approach than other people. But in the end, that will only make you understand these subjects better than anyone else. A misconception ISTPs have about themselves is that they aren't creative. They may even put down others' creative interests. The word practical is often used to describe ISTPs. This is because ISTPs are masters of solving real-world problems right now. So if you get lost in the wilderness, you better hope that your hiking buddy is an ISTP who can build a fire with 2 sticks. Practical situations that demand a solution right then and there, that's where ISTP's creativity emerges. They can be the type who discovers a unique or better way to do something. And this is because they are the best at improvising a solution in the moment. And yes, this can extend beyond the practical and into traditional creative fields. You know, potato fields, it's a stupid joke. I'm talking about like actors, musicians, writers, etc. They all know that improvisation is a valuable skill. The misconception that INTPs have about themselves is that they can't fit in with others. Socializing, and that's not my thing. INTPs either worry way too much about what other people think of them, or they don't care at all. So many INTPs feel like it's easier to not even try to communicate with others. But society needs INTPs to communicate with the rest of us dummies. INTPs can be some of the best communicators. Think of how many teachers, mentors, and great thinkers in the world are INTPs. Well, Frank, how many are there? I don't actually know, but it's a lot. What INTPs have to learn is that there's a middle ground between caring too much and caring too little. INTPs can overcome this struggle and fit in with others. To do this, they have to pay a little extra attention to how their words might impact others' feelings. And then they need to pay a little less attention to how others might be judging them. Because in all likelihood, they don't care. ISFPs have the misconception that they are too sensitive to handle criticism. Now, okay, I know, you ISFPs watching are like,
Frank, that's not a misconception. I can feel criticism like a knife to the heart.
The thing is that ISFPs aren't that much more sensitive to criticism than other types. Like, you can handle it. What's going on behind the scenes here is that ISFPs get into an all or nothing mentality. Either they are right or the criticism is right. And they usually fall on the side of, I'm right. So this misconception causes ISFPs to shut down when they receive criticism. They believe that they can't handle it, so they don't even try to process it. It just goes in one ear and out the other. It just flies overhead like a little bird. ISFPs need to realize that you can accept criticism without feeling defeated by it. You can analyze criticism to see what is useful and what isn't. I think ISFPs don't believe that they have the, logical capability to pick apart someone else's criticism but you do. If you do this, this will give you a huge advantage. You'll be able to take your strong feelings and sharpen them with that criticism. The misconception INFPs have about themselves is that they aren't good leaders. When they have creative ideas, which they have a lot, this insecurity might cause them to try to do everything on their own. That's fine if it's like, oh, I want to paint a painting, but they will do this even when they have a dream to achieve something that requires people around them, like building a company. And they reject help from others because that way their success isn't determined by their ability to lead others. INFPs often see their ideas as very personal. They get protective of their creativity. They don't want others to meddle with it. The problem is that you can't get very far all by yourself. With some exceptions, obviously, but with many things, at some point, including others is necessary, especially if you want to reach a lot of people with your ideas. INFPs have some of the most unique minds of any of the types. They are visionaries. Because of this, when they learn to trust others to help carry out that vision, they can be some of the best leaders. ENTPs have the misconception about themselves that they aren't people persons. I know, it's weird, right? Considering that they are an extroverted type. You're likely to hear ENTPs say that they care about things and ideas, not so much about people. It's kind of a badge of honor for them. I don't care about people. I just care about, thoughts and such. But the truth is that, whether you realize it or not, many of an ENTP's ideas tend to circle back to helping others. Now, it's true, ENTPs don't usually start with the people in mind. They think they're just getting excited about an idea or a problem they want to solve. Examples could be building a computer program or untangling a philosophical question. What ENTPs may not realize is that these things have the end result of helping people. That computer program will make day-to-day life easier for someone else. That philosophical problem you're solving will bring relief to someone else's inner life. By realizing the good your ideas and work can do for others, you can be more intentional. You can even bring more attention to what you're working on and in the end, benefit many more people. ENFPs have the misconception that they're not meant to stick to one thing. Finding one path to follow in life, that's for other people. ENFPs feel like they'll be holding themselves back and missing opportunities if they get too focused. In reality, ENFPs can find many more opportunities in life if they narrow down their path. They might actually be missing out and holding themselves back by being too open. Let's say an ENFP were to choose to be a psychologist, for instance. Many ENFPs might feel like it's a trap to be so committed to that one path. They'd have to give up the opportunity to do something else, like be a pastry chef. But within psychology, there's a lot to explore. There are many different branches of psychology. And once you pick one branch, then there are many different methods and roles to explore. By reframing their mindset, ENFPs can view their one large path as a chance to explore many smaller paths. With this perspective, they can commit themselves to achieving long-term goals. The misconception INTJs have is that fun is a waste of time and won't lead to anything meaningful for them. When you say to them fun, their response is, you know how to induce thermonuclear fusion? New experiences and exploring the world without a specific purpose can seem pointless to them. What INTJs need to realize is that if they let themselves have fun, that's when they can level up their work. For INTJs, their best ideas often come from having new experiences, having an adventure, leisure time. It's hard to find inspiration when you're sitting in the same room all day doing the same things day in and day out. How do you expect a new idea to come out of the mind when nothing new is going into it? At the most basic level, sunshine and fresh air will energize that machine between your ears. Getting out, trying new things, and even having a little fun can lead INTJs to have their greatest insights. A misconception that INFJs have is that they are different from everyone else. So different, in fact, that they may never find their place in the world. They are a square peg and there's just a bunch of round holes everywhere. Now look, many INFJs are kind of odd, but the internet and some YouTube videos have made many INFJs feel like they are extremely odd. Part of this comes from years of the internet touting INFJs as the rarest type. Though, as I pointed out in my award-winning video, INFJs are not the rarest type anymore. Click or tap the card above my head. Definitely not gonna remember to put the card in. I know, a lot of you are bristling right now and you're like,
Frank, ugh, how could you're betraying us?
but guys, the thing is, this misconception of being super different is detrimental to you. I know at first it gives you a little comfort. It's like, oh, this explains why I find it so difficult to get along in life. But after that, like, initial comfort, which lasts, I don't know, a couple weeks maybe, it can start to make some INFJs feel like they're better than everyone else. After all, the holographic Charizard is the best Pokemon card because it's so rare. On the other hand, it makes other INFJs feel lonely and helpless. Like they think it's impossible for them to find their place in the world due to their differences. The truth is that while INFJs do have their unique struggles, not discounting that, as individuals, they're pretty normal. They're like not that remarkably odd. A typical INFJ is less like a holographic Charizard in a protective plastic case and more like a Charmander. INFJs can find their place in the world. It's easier than you believe. And once you find your place, then you can grow and evolve into a Charmeleon and then a holographic Charizard. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay cool and attractive.
They say a strange